Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Happy New Year. Happy 2025, everyone. We have our stories of hope today, and I'm so excited to introduce you to our first guest, Emily Thorner. She's known simply as Emily. She's an American singer, speaker, advocate, and genre-defying vocals heal. She inspires and empowers worldwide audiences. She's hailed as the ultra soprano and the human singing bowl. Emily is celebrated for her unparalleled vocal range and her ability to blend pop, rock, opera, and musical theater influences into a singularity captivating sound. Emily's supersonic voice is not only a musical marvel, but a vehicle for healing and consciousness raising. Through her TED Talk, The Power of the Voice, and her experiential healing tour, State of Being, Emily explores how sound can shift energy and activate our highest potential. And maybe she'll give us a little piece of that sound today. Welcome to the show today, Emily.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Cornelia. Hello to everyone listening.
Right? Happy 2025. Yes, it's wonderful to meet you and have you here because you're here with a very special message that's on your mind right now, and that has to do with the voice.
Yes, so all about the power of your individual voice wherever you are listening, even if you've never thought about what does my voice have to say before this moment, the power of what you have to bring in the world and how uniquely special and one of a kind it is, and the impact that you can make through your most beautiful instrument that you carry with you every single day.
Yeah, so it's important to claim that back and speak your voice. Now, what happens when you feel, you know, like you don't have a voice, or what happens when you feel like people aren't listening to you, or there is not a space for it, or people don't have bandwidth to hear you? What do you say during those times?
Well, I think it's unfortunately quite common, right? It's quite common depending on, how you grow up, where you grow up, your gender, all sorts of things that it shouldn't be that way, but it so often is. And to that, it is really to to be able to reclaim your power, to be able to move past fears of perhaps judgment and how other people will react to you, and to know that no matter what other people say, however they may respond, that you are safe to speak your truth and to really be in your voice. And for a lot of us, that is, a lot of unlearning and relearning and a lot of, maybe really moving through the motions of healing because it is really truly a healing a healing journey to reclaim your voice. But to know that you are safe to make those changes and to know that you are never stuck, no matter what you've experienced, your journey with your voice is unlimited. And to me, I think it's the most important relationship you have.
I know that you're a consciousness teacher through your vocals as well. So if we can, relate to not speaking your voice, or the tremblings of not having a voice, or maybe traumas are coming up in your physical body, possibly due to time that you're clearing now, healing now, remembering now, uh, when you possibly lost your life for speaking your voice, for being a medicine woman, or for being in your voice. So
Yeah.
what do you want to say about that?
Well, now we're getting to the good stuff, right? So, a lot of people have no idea what lies beneath the surface, right? So, if you feel maybe a disconnect with your voice, like we were saying, or perhaps not quite able to be in your power because something feels like it's a lid you can't quite go past. Yes, I absolutely believe that we have many lifetimes we've lived, many places our energy has been, and we hold these memories of imbalances and traumas of what has happened to us in our auric field and in our physical body. So if we haven't really faced them yet, we might feel like it's impossible to go that next step. But it's entirely possible. And so, yes, one of the things I do is I do energy work with people. And so I help to immediately find where the blockages are, where we are held back, and to call it out and give it peace and give it, the space to finally let go. Yes, like you said, times that we've been murdered for speaking our truth, or murdered for being gifted, or murdered for knowing more, which in this lifetime causes us to silence ourselves. But you can absolutely lift that actually pretty easily from all lifetimes you've been, and you feel an immediate experience within, an immediate, it's almost like a place you've been trapped, you're no longer trapped, and suddenly you're free, and your relationship with your voice starts to improve.
Yeah, I think this is such an important piece, especially for women. It's really, really important that you claim your voice, and that you welcome it back, and that you do practices and exercises where you're really speaking your truth. It's interesting nowadays, especially with all the division that is being played in the outside world, and then also with the woke culture and everything that, where, the censoring and all that. It's interesting to have a voice during that time, because you don't know where you're going to get cut off if you speak your voice. Are you going to be deplatformed? Are you going to be, what are people going to leave your life because of, you speaking your voice? So that's also an interesting dynamic that's playing out right now. What do you say about that?
Absolutely. I mean, well, we can live, so many people live in that way, right? They're afraid of being, canceled. What if people misunderstand me? But the thing is, it's really a journey about reclaiming your truth. And your truth, Cornelia, your truth can only be yours, right? And so it is your journey, your destiny to discover and reclaim all of your truth. And thus, if you can both really come into alignment with your full truth, your acceptance of that truth, and then, yes, overcoming the fears and the resistance around visibility, for example, that's again something I do with people in an upcoming program, actually. It's possible to shift those fears of being canceled, because really, again, it goes back to another fear of a time that you probably were, or were murdered, or were stopped, or were judged. But your voice is important, and we need it. So it's safe. Just got to kind
Yeah.
of relearn that it's safe.
Yeah, and not basically, give up, or hold yourself back from experiencing this life as your best life, because all of those things that we talked about, possibly that you're healing, we're healing all of those past lives, and we're coming into this incarnation now where we're fully showing up with all of who we are. We can, if we're willing to use our gifts. And one of our gifts is being in our voice. So what would be like a practice? Do you have people do practices? Like, what would be a practice? Something practical that people can do right now to start using their voice more.
Gosh, there's so many things. To begin to use your voice more, I would say try making sound, try humming.
Mm,
What happens when you hum? Do you feel like you have to cover your mouth? Do you feel like you have to hold back? Or
mm,
do you feel like, oh, I like the sound of my voice? And again, it's not really about the physical sound, but what you're going to notice a lot just from the act of humming. It's going to be kind of like a quick temperature check. And then when you think about, maybe doing something outside of what you normally do, for example, going on a talk show or going on a radio show, or like something unusual, how do you feel? Do you feel excited? Do you feel ready? Do you feel aligned? Or do you feel scared? but you can begin to just make sound and be with and bring a, just even putting your hand to your throat and just recognizing, okay, this is not just vocal cords. This is an extremely important relationship. And just taking time to recognize that is a really good very first step, I would say.
Yeah, that's perfect for people to use that and practice with. I want to let the audience know how they can look you up on social media and also tell us a little about that upcoming program that you have.
Yes. So the upcoming program is called The Voice. It is 100% about reclaiming the power of your voice. So if that speaks to you, then, well, no pun intended, but pun always intended. Then you can go to moon-rising.com/the-voice. And then I also have a brand new song that is out called Prayer for Peace, which I think everybody needs to hear this. We got to share this far and wide. So it's all about raising consciousness. It's all about global peace. And yes, being the power of what you bring, and as well climate change. And that can be heard on every listening platform there is. So you can go to emilythorner.com. And then how to follow me, I am Emily Ultra Soprano on Instagram and Emily Thorner Moon on Facebook. So say hi.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. I want to look at your song Prayer for Peace because that I wrote a book in 2014 and it was about peace being the flip side to anger and how we really need to release our anger in a constructive way, in a healthy way, rather than in a destructive way because anger is the flip side to peace. And I want a world of peace because, that's what we are. That's we at our natural source, at our root source, we are peace. And it's up to us to make that happen.
Amen.
Yes. So thank you, Emily, for coming on and being our first guest in 2025. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Yes. And just so you know, Emily, that link that Ashley sent you is the same for the replay. So you are good to go. And we look forward to hearing more from you in 2025.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Our next guest today is Jess Diamond. She's a career and confidence coach, and she's also the host of the podcast, How to 20 Something. And she's the founder of Jess Diamond Coaching, where she helps young adults get their life together and develop confidence in any changes or transitions that they are making in their career. She's a certified life and nutrition coach and personal trainer and has made it her mission to help as many 20-somethings as she can so that they don't feel alone in their journey through adulthood and feel confident in anything they put their mind to. Welcome to the show today, Jess Diamond.
Hi, Cornelia. Thanks for having me.
So I was just thinking, as I was reading your bio, I was just thinking, gosh, where were you when I was 20 something, right? Because that's like, that would have been a welcomed time to, get on a career path that was more aligned with who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
how did you get started in this?
well, first, I get a lot of that response to anyone that's older than me is like, well, I needed you in my 20s. And I was like, tell the other 20-somethings you know. But I got started on this path towards helping other 20-somethings because the first 2-ish years of me graduating college, I was hit with one thing after another. For reference, I graduated in 2019. I started working my first full-time job that I hated. It was a less than ideal kind of job in August of that year. And when I was finally felt like I was getting my bearings, I was in a new city, I was making friends, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start like some new things. The pandemic hit. And I worked from home for one full day, and I think like half of the second day before I lost my job completely. And mind you, at this time, I'd worked 7 months, and I couldn't just go and find another job. I was a complete sitting duck. I was furloughed, so there was that promise of your job's still here, it's waiting for you, but just hold off. So I kept waiting. And that first month of being unemployed, the first 3 months, I didn't qualify for any stimulus checks because I was a dependent on my mom's 2019 taxes. I didn't qualify for any unemployment because there is a certain formula. You have to have a set number that you have made by being a full-time employee. And I was about $1,000 off of that number. So if I just started work 1 week earlier, would not have had that much of an issue. And then nothing was open. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't go apply for another job. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I coined the term, it was my early retirement. I'd wake up, I would watch a lot of TV, play on my phone, downloaded TikTok, and really got into a deep funk. I don't know if it was a depression at the time, but I was not supporting myself in any way. I was not helping myself in the situation. Knowing that everything was out of my control, I wasn't focusing on what I could do in that time that was in my control, because there were things. So once my furlough that was initially 1 month was extended an additional 12 weeks, I realized I can't keep living my days like this and I needed to do something. I always had a passion for fitness and taking care of myself. During that time, I was exercising way too much, probably about 4 hours a day. So I was doing that, but it was an unhealthy amount. So I always wanted to take care of myself. I always ate right, always worked out, always played sports, like those things that I wanted. Let me go become a personal trainer. I'm curious as to how to work out better. So I wanted to do it for me. And I started that certification, and then Facebook did its fun little "I'm listening to you" moment where it gave me an ad. It was like, "We're looking for trainers." And it was for an outdoor boot camp, which is perfect in a pandemic when you can't be near people. So I started training with them and I fell in love with helping people. Everyone loved my workouts that I was writing. I got to be creative with it and have fun. And I fell in love with the feeling that the people that came felt better leaving the workout. So by the end of it, they felt better about who they were, that they showed up and that they did it and they enjoyed themselves. And I was chasing that feeling. So my unemployment ended up lasting about 6 months. I got asked to be a full-time, it was a franchise, a full-time, have my own franchise trainer with this company. And my mom was like, no, let's go get a real job. Okay? We need to go apply for things again. Things are opening up. I was in Florida for reference, so things were coming back to life. And I went and got a full-time job with the mission to get out. So I was like, I'm accepting this job, but I'm not going to be here for forever. I'm going to go be a personal trainer. I just need to figure out what else that entails. And that's what got me into coaching. So I started out as a health coach. It was a health and life coaching certification. And through working with clients, I always wanted to work with young adults because I was a young adult. I still am a young adult. And through working with my one-on-one clients, I started to realize I liked the life coaching side. And then I started to realize my story is my career. And I was putting it all together, and the people I was helping, it always came back to their career and how that determined their location and their schedule and their health and their time off and everything, literally everything that you are creating in your 20s is established from that initial career that you are taking. It puts everything into place, and it's how do you have a life outside of that as well. So once I realized that was the road I was going down, I made a plan. So April of 2021, I started to say, when my lease is up in March, I'm moving, I'm quitting my job, and I'm pursuing my business full time. And I did. And here I am almost 3 years later.
Wow. And how has it been? What an incredible story.
It's had its ups and downs. I moved from Florida to North Carolina. I have had my other struggles with loneliness, with making friends, with friendship breakups, with figuring out what else I want to be doing within my career as well. So I am a personal trainer still. I have one-on-one clients at one gym. I do group fitness at another. I have my online business, started the podcast. It's been a climb for sure. I feel like 2024 was the first year I actually felt very stable in what I was building. So I'm excited that 2025, I feel like I'm just gonna grow off of that and exponentially increase my outreach. And I mean, it starts with this podcast. Today's the third, and here we are.
Yeah, no, I think this is great. I think it's, being an entrepreneur it's not easy. And it's not a get rich quick scheme. And it takes a lot of dedication and focus. And especially when you're coming up against your own programs and your own limitations and all these other things, and then distractions and whatever, you can very quickly feel like you're not progressing and not moving forward. You have to really be, you have to have good people around you, people that support you, and also, be determined to make it, because it's not easy to be an entrepreneur, and make it, staying true to your dream is an important piece. So you want to help a lot of 20 somethings. While you were talking, I was thinking about, 20 somethings, do they have money to pay you?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot, and it depends on the 20 something. So I have, because I work with anyone from 18 to, I say 35, because I've worked with 35-year-olds, mainly majority on nutrition, the nutrition component, because I have a nutrition coaching certification as well. But the later 20 somethings to early 30 somethings can very much afford this on their own. They are established. They're just realizing like, hey, this is not what they want for themselves, or they're approaching that the age 30, or they've reached that age 30 and they're kind of freaking out for themselves of what have I been doing with my 20s. And then my younger 20 somethings, even my late teenagers, it's usually a parent will step in and help either cover the costs fully or will cover partially and be like, you need to work for this as well, and teach them a lesson within that of how this is valuable and you have to show up. You have to show up for yourself. You have to show up for these calls and do the work so that you reap the benefits. But it varies person to person. I am very willing to work with my clients on what's going to help them succeed the best and make them feel comfortable. I tell them coaching should be something that excites you and not causes you even more stress. So I want to very much alleviate your stress. And I know financial stress is a component of that.
Yeah, but it's good that you know how to answer that question, because obviously you've been in this business now and you've dealt with these kinds of things, and you know how to address it. I just want to quickly touch on, how have you helped people, the people that you are helping, the 20 somethings, what have their results been? Give us a testimony around that.
Results vary. I would say the commonalities have been confidence in the direction they're taking their career, at least for right now. So I'm a huge advocate for, I'm helping you figure out what you're doing with your life right now and what that means. So it means that you know what you're working towards for the foreseeable future. It doesn't mean you have the rest of your life planned out. So it's feeling confident, it's being able to talk about that, being able to go home to your family, your parents, and like, this is what I'm doing with my life, my career, and taking care of myself, my habits, my sense of community. I help a lot with building friendships and your network and how your network is going to help you with your career, and just tying all the pieces together. Because if you come to me with one problem, I very quickly help you realize that it's trickling into other areas of your life, which the good part about that is we start focusing in on improving one area and you start to see those improvements in the other areas. It's why I do the personal training, the nutrition coaching, and the life coaching, because they all relate to one another in helping you succeed in who you're trying to be.
Yeah, it's kind of like body, mind, and spirit. And it seems like everything that you're teaching and talking about, coaching, teaching, talking about, helping people with, are things that you yourself have personally gone through.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
you've got firsthand experience on, and everything is still really fresh in your life because it's not like 10 years later. You're in the middle of it all, and you have done that. And just like you were so authentic earlier, not saying that you're not now, but earlier when you were speaking about how, when you first moved to North Carolina, how you were dealing with loneliness and what you were dealing with. So these are all things that I'm sure that 20 something people face, not just 20 something people, but all people, dealing with loneliness and, just dealing with the everyday challenges of life that we're faced with, that we have to, have a coach sometimes that really supports us. I mean, so many people, professional people that have succeeded in life, have had coaches, right? I mean, people have vocal coaches, all kinds of coaches. So it's important to have a coach. And are you glad that you went in the direction that you went in as far as everything that happened with your business, with your job, how that all played out?
I get asked this a lot, and I mean, I'm very much a person that's everything happens for a reason, and I believe that. Something I do get asked is would I have become a personal trainer or a coach had I not gone through any of that? And I think the answer would have been yes, but eventually. I think it would have taken me a little bit longer to find my true passion, and I felt very fortunate that I kind of stumbled into it when I was 23 years old, and then coaching when I was 24, and have been self-employed since the day I turned 25. Literally on my 25th birthday, I handed in my keys to my office.
Yeah, that's so great. And what does your mom say today about your success?
My mom is so, so, so supportive now. Once she realized I had a plan and I thought this decision through, she has been one of my biggest support systems. If I'm like hesitant about investing in a new certification or a trip or something, she's definitely one to step up and be like, no, you should do it. She'll offer to help. Sometimes I take it, sometimes I don't. But she has been my rock through this entire journey. She's actually the one that recommended I look into coaching. So from the moment I started that coaching certification, she has supported me through and through, emotionally, mentally, sometimes financially, but for the most part, I am on my own financially, and I take pride in that.
Yeah. The thing is that, look at how, like, now your mom has become your greatest supporter, and how at first she was the one that told you to go and nope, you need to go get a full-time job. But that experience was also necessary, that you had to go through in order to take the next leap, to really find out what it is that you really want to do, right?
Yeah, it's that. And it also is very helpful with the work that I do, because I worked pre-pandemic, lost my job for 6 months, worked remote post-pandemic, and then worked back in office full-time post-pandemic as well, and then left my job to pursue my own business. So as someone in their 20s, like, they're going to experience different portions of this in-office life, the hybrid, the fully remote, the losing their job, the wanting to start their own business. And I did all of that within 2.5 years of graduating college.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it's kind of like that, like, fast track.
I don't recommend it for anybody, but
Right?
it's what happened.
It is what happened. So what does your mom do? Does your mom have a job, or does she work, or?
Yes, my mom is an OT, an occupational therapist, and she loves what she does. And I think that very much helps me want to stay in alignment with my own passion, because growing up, I've watched her, and she still works to this day, do what she loves. And she tells me all the time that she plans on working until her body won't let her.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too, that, like, the whole way that we've been programmed that we should retire at 60s, in our early 60s or whatever. And, that's just not the way of the world anymore. It's like so many people are coming out of retirement. So if you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do, why would you want to stop doing it? So there's just, the world is changing, and it's up to us to grow and evolve with our human race. And so we're living longer. There's so many things that we get to discover and look forward to, and living our best life, being in our best health, being in your best fitness, everything that you're doing and talking about. The fact that you want to help as many 20-somethings, it's a really wonderful thing that you're doing, because they are the future. Their children are the future of this planet. So you're helping a lot of people, and I'm glad you're doing it. So let's give the audience your social media handles so they can look you up and follow you on social media.
Yes, of course. Please follow me. I'll follow back. It is at coach.jessdiamond. So it's my name, Coach, period, JESS, and then Diamond, as my mom likes to say, like the good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm also on Facebook, although that is a little more, I don't just accept anyone on Facebook. I think it's just Jess Diamond. I don't check that one as often. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Spotify and Apple with how to 20 something, spell out the number 20 and you'll find it. But yeah, I'm everywhere. Find me, reach out, message me, tell me your story in your 20s, or if you are in your 20s right now, I'd love to hear from you.
That's wonderful, Jess. I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show and good luck with everything.
Thank
We're
you.
going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show, everyone, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is Melanie Cohen. She grew up as a competitive gymnast. She trained intensely, spending 25 to 30 hours a week in the gym. Once she stepped away from that demanding schedule, she began to experience weight gain, which continued throughout college. As her career began in retail management, the long hours in the malls and easy access to unhealthy food choices, this contributed to further weight gain. During her pregnancies, it continued as she reached over 200 times by the 200 pounds by the time she turned 30. She was determined to change her path. Melanie joined a well-known weight loss program. She lost over 60 pounds, and then she became a weight loss coach, spending the next 20 years helping others reach their health and wellness goals. After a decision to apprentice with a personal organizer and inventory manager, she began to recognize the power of letting go of the clutter in all areas of our lives, including weight. From there, her new journey began, and she's here to talk to us about it today on our first show in 2025. Welcome to the show today, Melanie.
Thank you, Cornelia. Thank you for having me. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. So, when we were speaking before we came live, how I was looking at the fact that you joined an organizer to a declutter person to help you organize your space, and then you linked it to weight loss. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Well, I mean, if I can also say, because I don't think it came up, both of my parents are hoarders. So when I reached out to work with an organizer, I really I wanted to fix it for my parents, not realizing how much clutter I actually had, and I think at the root of it for me was already recognizing how stressful my parents' stuff and how stressful their space was to me. And my response my whole life to stress has been food. It's quick, it's easy, it's comforting. And that is probably the number one reason why I gained as much weight as I did in my young adulthood. So what I noticed was as we removed clutter, whether it was paper or books or, china, glass, whatever it is, the more that I let go, the more relief I was experiencing. And the more relief that I experienced, the easier it was to manage all of the hard emotions, whether they were high levels of stress or, low levels of depression or just, the blues. That once I started managing all of the clutter around me, I was better able to manage the things that I needed to do in my life that made me feel good.
Yeah, what you said it's a key piece. And this is, audience, this is for you to see if you also heard that piece. And when she first started to declutter, all of a sudden she discovered that she felt better in that first time. And that's a big key piece when you know that you're onto something, because that's actually right.
Yes, exactly. I had worked as a weight loss coach for over 20 years before I even really started to explore deeply what the concept of clutter meant to weight loss, or weight gain for that matter. And, I have a lot of clients that I work with who come to me and say specifically, "Oh, I don't have clutter." Right? I believe you. I swear I believe you. And then in conversation and in working together, we discover what kind of clutter they have. They may actually have physical clutter that they had just become almost immune to because it was always there. And in some cases, beautiful, clean home, you can eat off the floors, so to speak, but there's financial clutter or there's calendar clutter. There's just saying yes to every event and doing everything. Digital clutter, like the amount of emails and texts and photographs that we have. And so what I have found over and over again is that even those of us who feel like we don't have clutter can discover clutter in our lives. And then in understanding what our individual clutter is, we can address it so that we can eliminate the stress that it causes.
I love
or
all of this.
alleviate.
Yeah, I love all of this. How does this relate to, I mean, our physical body and, our home where we have all the clutter, and how does that show up in our weight, not releasing weight? So that's right. How does that show up?
Sure. So I think, it goes back to, what I said earlier in that, clutter creates stress wherever it's coming from. So if I'm experiencing stress, I may lean into emotional eating or, for other people, smoking, drinking, other negative, unwanted behaviors. But the reality is that everything that I do when it comes to the way I eat is in the kitchen. So if my kitchen is full of clutter, whether it's piles of mail or kids' schoolwork or kids' artwork or, 9 gazillion Tupperware pieces where the tops and the bottoms don't match, appliances that never get used, if the kitchen space itself is cluttered, I'm less capable of stepping up and making a healthy meal. It makes it so much easier to pick up the phone and call, for pizza or open the apps and order in any food and I don't want to demonize food by any stretch of the imagination. Pizza is I live in Brooklyn, New York. Pizza is a necessary part of life. But when I'm ordering pizza, I want it to be something I planned for and looked forward to, as opposed to a last minute decision at 7:30 in the evening because I'm so overwhelmed by everything around me.
Yeah. I am also in that realization right now that I want to, first of all, release weight and also release some clutter. I mean, I'm probably one of those people that you talked about that you could come here and eat off the floor. It's that thing, but there's definitely clutter around me. And I recently noticed it I had my vitamins on my kitchen counter. And I have a drawer that has all the supplements in it as well. So a kitchen drawer that opens up. And I had left the vitamins on the kitchen counter for like a long time. And so then I could just see them and I could just, see them and take them every day. Well, I realized that the reason that I was doing that is because there was no room inside my drawer. And guess what? I wasn't using the supplements that was in there. So when I had that realization, I'm like, wow, they were outdated. When I was looking at the supplements that were in there, I wasn't even taking most of them and they were outdated. And so that's when I realized I need to go through all of my drawers. I need to go through all of my things and do this same thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
So this is such a great thing to do. Like you said, what do we want to do when we move into a new year? It's 2025. And so people want to lose weight and people want to get rid of clutter. So, and they're both connected.
100%. I love the example that you said, because again, being healthy is a lot more than what food I'm choosing. For most of us, we need supplements in addition to a healthy pattern of eating to get all of the nutrients that we need. And I love that example. We just cleaned out the medicine in our cabinet. We try to do it, more than once or twice a year, because if you're going to the pharmacy, you can bring old medications with you and they will dispose of them safely. And I was just so proud of myself when there were only 2 things to take out. And one was baby aspirin that I don't even know why was in there. My kids are adults and neither my husband or I have heart trouble. and a bottle of cough medicine that had been prescribed that didn't really work well for me. And why am I really good about getting my vitamins and medicine in? Exactly what you just said, because at one point a year and a half ago, I said, enough is enough. Let's clean up this space and make it usable.
One of my themes for this year, I have several of them, but one of them is for me to set up my life in simplicity. I want everything to be really simple. And that process is starting, now as I'm clearing things out and as I'm organizing things and letting things go, but really setting my life up because I do love simplicity. I don't want things complicated. I don't want things stressed out. I don't want a lot of clutter. I want it simple. So it's like one or the other. So it's a very easy way to make the choices.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I know it's not going to happen overnight because everything requires that I'm part of this process to make choices and
Right.
decisions, to let things go.
Yeah.
So, but you
Yeah.
coming on the show right now is that affirmation for me to see the validation, I want to say that, I'm
Yeah.
on the right track with this. So how are you helping others right now? What is it that how are you helping others to work with you personally one-on-one?
Well, I do one-on-one coaching. I also have a program. It's called the Design Your Healthy Life Strategy Program, and it's a program with weekly workshops. I've written over 50 courses on everything mindset first related to both decluttering and to health and wellness. And we talk about everything from all the basics in behavior change theory, like analysis paralysis and decision-making fatigue and imagine, like, I love those two in particular because you can hear how the clutter plays a role in not being able to make good choices or feeling paralyzed in making a decision in the first place. And so it's really great to have like-minded people, in one space. We use Zoom to both share what they're struggling with, learn a thing or two, and then support each other in finding the path to living a more clutter-free existence. And if I can say, if you see behind me, I have lots of pictures on the wall. I am not a minimalist. And I never want to be. I love things. I love colors. I love patterns and routines and things like that. It is about the fact that what we own, our things, have energy. And so some things are going to have positive energy. Those are the things you want to hang on to wherever the energy comes from. If things don't have positive energy, we want to let it go. And so that may mean for some people, they clear the space out and they live like a Spartan minimalist. And for other people, it may mean that they have a lot of things, but that their things have a place in their space and make us feel good. And it really is about learning how to let go and release the things that just aren't serving us anymore.
I think it comes down to what you're saying, and this is how I feel too with my clothes. I only want to have my favorite things. I don't want to have all the other things. I don't want all the choices. I just want to have the favorite things because no matter what, guess what I'm doing all the time? I'm putting on my favorite things. I'm going to wear the same things. I'm going to be putting on my favorite things because.
And you know what? There's the statistics are roughly that most of us wear 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time.
Yep. So that's it. So,
yeah, exactly.
So I'm doing that. But, when you mentioned your pictures behind you, I did have the thought earlier while we were talking. I thought there's a lot of pictures on that wall. That was interesting. And then you mentioned it because I thought, okay, well, obviously we're okay to have, so you cleared that up because it's okay to it's okay to still love the things that you love, but let go of the things that you're not using or that are stored in boxes or closet or things like that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I want to let the audience know how they can look you up, how they can find you. What are your social media handles?
I am Melanie Cohen across the board. And I also, in some cases, can be found based on my company name, Thoughtfully Coaching, thoughtfully, one word. And I just encourage people to check out, my podcast, which actually my podcast launched today. I've only done one episode so far. I'm so excited to be here with you today. For me, launching the podcast meant removing a lot of mental clutter. This is hard. I can't do it. I really want to speak about how so much of behavior change is rooted in the clutter in our mind, or rooted in removing that clutter. I can't do hard things. I'm not tech savvy. I'm yada, yada, yada. Because I know that I am meant to be here to help people remove the clutter, whether it's the physical clutter on their body, the clutter in their minds. And so I just want to keep talking about it. Most people who want to lose weight are looking for a weight loss coach. Most people who are experiencing clutter are looking for a clutter coach. There are very few people out there that are doing both. And I want to shout that from the rooftops, really.
Well, I think you're doing it. 2025, congratulations, coming out of the gate, launching your podcast, coming here to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I've been inspired by you, so thank you so much. Yes, and good luck with you. And just so you know that the link that Ashley sent you is the same for the replay, so you can promote the show that way. I want to thank the audience for listening and tuning in. Thank you so much for joining and coming on today to live an inspired life. And without hope, where would we be? Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you again next week. Take good care.
You've been listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Cornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Cornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at corneliastephanie.com.